Hello and welcome to Your World Tonight. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and here are the top stories we're tracking for you at this hour. In a big victory for Akhilesh Yadav, the Election Commission of India allows him to retain Samajwadi Party symbol, the bicycle. Mulayam camp likely to challenge the decision. Locals in Tamil Nadu defy Supreme Court ban, organized Jallikattu in some villages as police resort to lathi charge. Murmurs of discontent grow in AIADMK as party MLA and former Minister KP Munusamy speaks out against the newly appointed Party General Secretary Shashikala Natarajan. Implementation of India's goods and services tax regime deferred till July. Standoff continues over distribution of powers between the central and state governments. And Turkey's parliament votes in favor of constitutional reform. If the bill receives approval, it could give President Erdogan sweeping powers and a shot at a second five-year term. First up, in a big blow to Samajwadi Party Supremo Mulayam Singh Yadav, his son and Chief Minister of the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, Akhilesh Yadav, has been given the bicycle symbol. In news that is just coming in, the Election Commission of India has given Samajwadi Party's symbol, the bicycle, to Akhilesh Yadav. In an interim order ahead of the crucial seven-phase Uttar Pradesh election, the poll panel said Akhilesh retains the majority support within his party and is therefore entitled to the symbol. News also coming in that Mulayam camp is expected to move court on this order. For more on this, we are now joined by WION senior correspondent Raghavendra Rao live from the newsroom. Raghavendra, what exactly does the Election Commission say in its ruling? Give us the details.
Ramesh, the Election Commission went into great detail into the claims made by both Mulayam Singh Yadav and Akhilesh Yadav vis-a-vis the party symbol and the party name. Each of the factions claiming that they are the original Samajwadi Party and that they should be granted the use of the bicycle symbol. Both sides were represented by a battery of senior lawyers, while Akhilesh Yadav was represented by senior Congress leader and lawyer Kapil Sibal. Mulayam Singh was represented by former Solicitor General of India Mohan Parasaran, in addition to several other lawyers accompanying both the factions. Now, what essentially the Election Commission has arrived at is that in wake of the test of majority that has been applied in this particular case, Akhilesh Yadav and the faction which he represents is the one that has managed to establish through documentary evidence that it enjoys the support of the legislative and the organizational wing of the party. Remember, Ram Gopal Yadav, the main man in the Akhilesh Yadav faction who has been dealing with the Election Commission ever since this crisis erupted, had managed to get affidavits from the legislative members of Samajwadi Party in the Legislative Assembly, in the Legislative Council, the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, as well as party delegates. And in submitting those affidavits, Ram Gopal Yadav has managed to establish before the commission that it is indeed Akhilesh who enjoys the support of the party, has a larger base in the party, and it is the Akhilesh faction which is the real Samajwadi Party. And applying that test of majority, the Election Commission has decided in favor of Akhilesh Yadav. Also, the fact that Mulayam Singh Yadav, despite repeated reminders from the Election Commission, despite being told repeatedly to submit the affidavits claiming support.
Indeed, Raghavendra, I'll ask you to stay with us. Let's listen into what Ram Gopal Yadav had to say.
मैंने कहा था कि ये धर्म युद्ध में मैं पार्टी में रहूं या न रहूं, लेकिन अखिलेश को दोबारा मुख्यमंत्री बनाने के लिए काम करूंगा। और पहली सीढ़ी हमने वो पार कर ली है। समाजवादी पार्टी अब हमारी है। समाजवादी पार्टी में कोई दखलंदाजी इधर उधर की नहीं हो सकेगी। राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष अखिलेश हैं और उनके नेतृत्व में उत्तर प्रदेश में दोबारा सरकार बनेगी।
We're also joined by WION's chief domestic correspondent Karthikeya Sharma. Karthikeya, what do you make of the Election Commission's ruling? How significant is it, and what are the likely implications of it going forward?
Well, Akhilesh has run away with the cycle. The implication of this ruling is that there will be an alliance with Rashtriya Lok Dal, headed by Ajit Singh, his son Jayant Chaudhary. Then they'll have an alliance with the Congress party, and Akhilesh Yadav will head it. And Mulayam Singh Yadav, despite the fact that he has taken on his son, will be neither left with his organization nor left with the legislative members. And I think the irony of the matter is that Akhilesh, in absence of his father, will emerge as a bigger leader than him. And I would say that history has its own way of making new leaders out of the old lot. And Akhilesh has turned out to be the bigger leader than Azam Khan, bigger leader than Shivpal Yadav, bigger leader than Mulayam Singh Yadav, bigger leader than those who were actually part and parcel when the Samajwadi Party was formed, when Mohan Singh and other people were part of it. So what has happened is it leads to complete marginalization of old lot. I think the days of Amar Singh are numbered in Samajwadi Party, and the tactical alliance of Samajwadi Party with the Congress creates a new environment where BSP will be alone. BSP has no seats in Lok Sabha, BSP has some members in Raj Sabha, so BSP will be fighting a lonely battle. But sometimes things turn out to be different way. TMC was all alone and Congress party aligned with the CPM, but TMC came back with bang and vengeance. But different issues got Mamata Banerjee and Rahul together. So in politics one has to wait and see how things move. But the fact of the matter right now is that Samajwadi Party, headed by Akhilesh Yadav, and Congress headed by Rahul Gandhi are together in this, which means it's going to have an impact in Rajya Sabha and the way Lok Sabha is going to function.
Indeed, Karthikeya. Now, the Mulayam camp has indicated that it might challenge the EC ruling. Do you at all see an end or early end to this family feud? Also, what precedent, if any, does this set for political parties at large?
I don't think the Supreme Court will have the locus standi to get into it. When the Election Commission announces the code of conduct, everything's come within the domain of the ECI. Now, if you start contesting the domain and the decisions taken by the ECI, it creates an institutional war. I do not think that the Supreme Court of India would like to challenge the verdict of the Election Commission of India. Institutional warfare does not succor good for democracy. Secondly, what it does is that it creates problem for Bharatiya Janata Party. You see, BSP was on a very strong ground, but BSP has a problem. For Mulayam Singh Yadav's son, Muslims as a constituency in UP, he is the first choice, Akhilesh Yadav. And if Akhilesh Yadav gets the vote of Yadavs and the Muslims in UP, even the Brahmins are going to shift. And if Brahmins and Yadavs and Muslims are there, it creates a block more than 35%. And then Mayawati with a Dalit block, San Muslim and San the upper caste will not have the capacity to create seats. And this is the reason why that despite getting 17 or 18% of the votes in the Lok Sabha elections, BSP got 0 seats in Uttar Pradesh.
Indeed, Karthikeya. Going back to Raghavendra, how is this likely to impact or influence the elections between now and the polling days in UP? What's the sense you are getting?
Ramesh, in a way, it is being seen as a blessing in disguise for the Samajwadi Party for the simple reason that the symbol, the bicycle, remains intact. In case any of the factions, both the factions had been asked to choose newer symbols at this stage, the nominations for the elections begin tomorrow, remember. And if any of these or both the factions had been asked to choose new symbols, had the bicycle symbol had been frozen, it would have led to a huge crisis for both the Mulayam faction and the Akhilesh faction. So in a way, it is being looked at as a positive development as far as the party name and the party symbol are concerned. Yes, it's very clear that, the Akhilesh faction has clearly emerged victorious in this. Mulayam and his supporters are the losers as of now. And but yes, since Akhilesh will be able to go into the elections using the Samajwadi Party name, using the bicycle symbol, the party is hopeful that, it will be able to, keep a hold on its key voter base and is not likely to lose out on voters in the upcoming polls.
Indeed, Raghavendra. Going back to Karthikeya, repeating the question which I asked Raghavendra before, how is this decision going to influence or likely to influence the outcome of the elections in Uttar Pradesh? Explain to us, if you will, the dynamic here onwards.
See, Uttar Pradesh, it's not a monolithic state. Uttar Pradesh will have its own tangent, its own position vis-a-vis caste, religion. When you talk about the alliances, yes, it's going to have an impact because the Yadavs and the Muslims and the upper caste will be a formidable background. But then the BJP is also there. BJP won out of 80 seats and got 71. Apna Dal got 2 seats. So BJP retains 73 Lok Sabha seats in UP. Because of BJP in UP and Bihar, they've got the simple majority in parliament. But the issue is that people don't vote for parties on the Lok Sabha basis. They will vote for a party for who is going to rule in Lucknow. And I think the biggest mistake which the Bharatiya Janata Party has made, that they have not given a face. And in absence of a face, this fight will be Akhilesh Yadav versus the rest. And let me put this on record. Even Nitish Kumar's battle was Nitish versus rest. Mamta became Mamta versus rest. ADMK became Amma versus rest. So when an election becomes a person versus rest, the person wins. It became Kejriwal versus rest. And even today when Amrinder is going to fight Prakash Singh Badal, it is becoming Amrinder versus rest. So right now, BJP has food for thought. Mayawati's position, but she has not been able to garner the confidence of the Brahmins or the upper caste vote, because upper caste also constitute Rajputs, but she is not actually going after them. And secondly, she has not been able to induct many Muslim faces. She has given tickets to Muslims, but there are not many faces. So in the case of the Congress, you have Akhilesh Yadav as the chief ministerial candidate, you have RLD in the western UP, you have Congress as an aggregate of the Brahmins, and here in between sits the Akhilesh. So that's how the composition becomes. And that is why I'm saying, in absence of a face, BJP will be the biggest loser.
Absolutely, Karthikeya. I'll ask you and Raghavendra to stay on while we explore another aspect of the story. Now, as the feud within the Samajwadi Party gets murkier, what is it about election symbols that gets political parties all worked up? Let's take a look in this next report.
What's there in a symbol? Apparently a lot. If one were to go by the determination political parties show in fighting rebel factions to retain their symbols. Introduced to help the largely unlettered masses in the country identify the candidates they wanted to vote for, symbols over the years have come to represent the very identity and philosophy of the political parties.
You know, as I said, there are recognized and unrecognized parties. Certain symbols, you know, some options are given to these parties, and they suggest that they want that particular symbol. And if it is not a reserved symbol, then it is allotted to that party. It is done by the Election Commission. Yeah. Each party will approach the Election Commission for symbol, and the Election Commission, as per the rule, there are certain rules. In fact, you know, the allotment of symbol, there are certain rules which have been framed for dealing with this allotment of symbol.
In some instances, symbols have come in handy for Indian politicians to mock the opposition.
अखिलेश जी ने 4.5 साल साइकिल चलाई और पता नहीं वो जैसे कभी-कभी होता है ना, कोई बंदा स्टैंड उतारना भूल जाता है, वो पेडल मारता है, वो टायर घूमता रहता है, हिलती नहीं है साइकिल, देखा ना, वैसा काम हो गया। साइकिल वहीं की वहीं पंचर पड़ी हुई है और उत्तर प्रदेश फंसा पड़ा हुआ है।
In others, they have led to farcical situations, like the one in 2012, when the Election Commission ordered covering up of all the statues of elephants installed in several public places in Uttar Pradesh, because elephant happened to be the party symbol of the then ruling Bahujan Samaj Party.
See, it's a question of identity of the party. a symbol allotted to a particular party, and that symbol remains with that party for a long time. So people associate the symbol with that particular party. That is the thing. So every political party has a certain interest in that particular symbol because people have identified that party with the symbol. So it becomes easier for them to approach people and ask them to vote. Otherwise, there will be a lot of confusion. That's why each party is really very much wedded to that symbol. They take it as a very proud possession, and they do not want to part with that symbol.
The Election Commission keeps a ready list of symbols that can be allotted to parties in case of splits. As many as 109 free symbols are still there for the taking. These range from an auto rickshaw, a dish antenna, a briefcase and a frock, to a harmonium, a toothbrush, a frying pan, and even a syringe. From time to time, the Election Commission keeps modifying the list of symbols, adding some, dropping others. In 2015, for instance, the EC decided to drop kettle and lady purse from the list of available symbols. Officials say that this list is updated as and when the EC realizes that there have been no takers for a particular symbol over a period of time. In New Delhi, Raghavendra Rao, WION.
Going back to Raghavendra and Karthikeya, to you first, Raghavendra. For the benefit of viewers who might just be tuning in, recap for us the main highlights of the Election Commission's ruling.
Well, Ramesh, Election Commission, after marathon rounds of meetings and having given enough opportunities to both the Mulayam Singh Yadav faction and the Akhilesh Yadav faction, has finally arrived at a decision. It has decided to recognize the faction led by Akhilesh Yadav as the real Samajwadi Party, and it has decided to allot the bicycle symbol to the Akhilesh Yadav faction. In doing so, Election Commission has paved the way for the Akhilesh Yadav faction to announce its list of candidates. The nominations for the Uttar Pradesh polls, remember, begin from tomorrow. This was one of the reasons why there was very little time available before the Election Commission. It was the reason why Election Commission was holding marathon meetings for the past few days, so that this decision could be arrived at well in time before the nomination process begins. Both the factions pleaded their respective cases before the Election Commission of India. However, it appears, a perusal of the 42-page order issued by the Election Commission of India, makes it clear that it is paperwork where Mulayam Singh Yadav appears to have lost out to Akhilesh. Akhilesh Yadav, represented by Ram Gopal Yadav, the faction was able to provide documentary evidence of the support it had within the legislative and the organizational wings of the party. Ram Gopal Yadav, remember, had brought in over 4,000 affidavits out of the
Indeed, Raghavendra. Coming to you, Karthikeya, now. Explain to us, or give us a flavor, if you will, of the political implications of this ruling.
See, the political implication of the ruling is that after 1971, when the Congress symbol was actually frozen by the EC, this time around the symbol has not been frozen. The symbol has been given to the Samajwadi Party. It also goes to show that Kapil Sibal has done a good job. Kapil Sibal has been able to deliver not only the symbol to the Samajwadi Party, but because of the symbol going to the Akhilesh Yadav, Sibal has ensured that the Samajwadi Party and Congress alliance becomes a reality. Because the real problem for the Congress was, would they like to go with a Akhilesh Yadav without cycle? Now they have a cycle, now they have Akhilesh Yadav, now they have RLD, and on top of it they have their own party. So it ultimately, because of Kapil Sibal, this thing has happened. So the hero of the show is not Akhilesh Yadav only. It is also Kapil Sibal, Rajya Sabha member of the Congress party. Because it was him who was known by the Congress party for the Samajwadi Party, who went to Election Commission to fight the case for them.
Absolutely, Karthikeya. Thank you, Karthikeya and Raghavendra, for your inputs. Time for a short break. More news on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. There are reports of rumblings in the ruling AIA-DMK party in Tamil Nadu. Party MLA and former Minister KP Munuswamy has spoken out against the newly appointed party General Secretary Shashikala Natarajan. He alleged that senior party leaders are being sidelined and Shashikala's family is taking center stage on all issues. Earlier, we spoke to R.K. Radhakrishnan, editor of Frontline magazine in Chennai. Let's hear what he had to say on this.
See, KP Munuswamy was not, all that important a guy in the AIADMK of late. Yes, the 64-year-old leader was a minister in the Jayalalitha cabinet some time back, but he was one of those who fell by the wayside. But it is significant that any leader has finally chosen to speak about Shashikala's leadership. This is the first time that a leader has actually spoken, that to a former minister who was in charge of very critical ministries like municipal administration and rural development. This is the first time that a former minister has spoken. This is the first time that a ranking leader of the AIADMK has spoken. It's not that he is a frontline leader of the AIADMK, but this is the important thing is that the rumblings have started coming out in the open. What was there in the minds of the cadre? Not one single person that I have spoken to over the past, since December 13, has ever said that it is good for Shashikala to take over the party. That is now being reflected in at least, let us say, the second level or the third level of the leadership.
Now, here is a shocker that once again shows how the separatist mindset in the state of Jammu and Kashmir is hurting the young and innocent. A junior actor from the movie Dangal meets Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti. The 16-year-old Zaira Wasim is then trolled on social media, accused of being anti-Kashmiri for meeting Mufti, as well as acting in a film. Under pressure, she tenders an apology on Twitter. Zaira played the role of Geeta Phogat in the blockbuster movie Dangal. In an open apology post, which was later deleted, she wrote, and I quote, "Regarding my last post, I have no idea why this has become such a big issue. I just wanted to make sure that I did not hurt anyone's feelings, and all of a sudden, it has been turned into national news. Again and again, I am telling people that I have not been forced into anything by anyone. This post was not meant against anyone, just wanted to make sure that people were not hurt by what I was doing. From media to everyone else, please don't blow this out of proportion. Neither was I forced, nor am I against anyone. Hopefully, this post just stops this once and for all," unquote.
कल की वो ज़ारा खान जिसने दंगल फिल्म में बहुत अच्छा रोल किया, हमारे बच्चे दे आर शोइंग, जो स्पोर्ट्स में बच्चे जा रहे हैं वो एक्सेल कर रहे हैं, पर बदकिस्मती ये है कि हम उनको वो मौका फराहम नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, उनकी अप्रिसिएशन नहीं हो रही है।
मैं जायरा से यही कहती हूँ, उसको माफी मांगने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। उसने जो काम किया, जो काम हमारे किरदार किए, तो उसको अपने आप पर गर्व होना चाहिए। नहीं, मैं उसको, वो अपनी जगह पे ठीक है, अगर उन्होंने ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया है तो, क्योंकि मैंने सुना है कि शायद कि लोग उसके बारे में कोई कमेंट कर रहे हैं शायद, तो वो एक लड़की है तो हर मुसीबतें उनको झेलनी पड़ती हैं और हमें भी झेली हैं। तो मैं यही कहना चाहूँगी जायरा को कि आपके साथ पूरा देश है और हम लोग भी आपके साथ हैं, आपको डरने की जरूरत नहीं है।
Government, when we saw her and when we saw the talent she has, we appreciated it. And if you ask me, this is just to create a sense of fear among the people. They don't want people to excel. They want people to be in homes. They want people to pelt stones and be destructive.
I think we as a country need to retrospect as to where we are going wrong, that our daughters who are trying to make their own identity, trying to do something which all of us should be proud of, are forced to apologize for something, I think, very good. It's really very unfortunate.
आप जानते हैं कि यहाँ कोई एक्सपोजर प्लेटफॉर्म कोई अदर प्रोवाइड करता नहीं है, गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कोई वैसे रिसोर्सेज नहीं है कि हम यंगस्टर्स अपने टैलेंट को आगे लेके जाएं। बट जब हम इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे खुद बहुत मेहनत करके आगे आते हैं तो हमारे अपने लोग ही हमें डिस्करेज करते हैं, विच इज़ वेरी सैड। मैं बहुत दुखी फील कर रहा हूँ तब से जब से पोस्ट वगैरह देखे हैं।
कोई अगर अपना गोल परस्यू करना चाहता है तो वी शुड इनकरेज देम, वी शुड सपोर्ट देम। ऐसे डिस्करेज करने से वी डोंट थिंक कि हमारा फ्यूचर कुछ ज़्यादा ब्राइट होने वाला है इस चीज़ से।
तो उनका गर्व होना चाहिए, हम अपनी राज्य की एक लड़की ऐसा पूरी दुनिया में एक इतना अच्छा उसका बारे में चर्चा भी हो रही है, बातचीत भी चल रही है। तो वो प्राउड होने के बजाय वो उनके खिलाफ, उनको एक 16 साल की बच्ची है, उनको दबा के रखना, उनको डराना, ये मर्दानी की बात नहीं है।
It's the first step towards an all-powerful presidency. But if all goes as planned by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, a planned reform of the constitution will be taken to Turkish citizens for a referendum in spring. The first round ballot on the bill was approved by the Turkish Assembly and will soon be followed by a second round after a 2-day break. If the bill receives the support of at least 330 of the 550 members of the Turkish Assembly and later that of Turkish voters, President Erdogan will be able to issue decrees, fire the Prime Minister and remain a member of a political party. The bill will also enable presidential and general elections to be held in 2019 and also enable the President to remain in office for 2 5-year terms. Time for a short break. More news on the other side. Stay tuned.